Hey everyone, welcome to the Love Your Body podcast. We have a special guest today. So Ricki Sanchez from 107.5 The River is in the house. And for those of you that don't follow on Instagram, which all of you do, and have seen her crushing it in the LYB.
Trying.
And just
You
doing
kick my
amazing.
ass.
I know that's right. But in the best way.
Yes, no, we pay you to kick our asses.
Right.
So like we're really the ones that have the problem when you think about it.
Thank you. I've been waiting for someone to just own up to this at some point. Like it's only taken 7 years, but okay. No, you're good. But I love that. And you're crushing it. Like seriously, I have just been so excited to get to work with you and then get to have you on here today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So for those who maybe don't know what you do or anything like that, give them a little insight and just a little.
Okay, yeah. So I am the host of Ricki, Zach, and Mano in the Morning on 107.5 The River here in Nashville, Tennessee. We are the CHR station, so like top 40, anything that's like trending music is what we play on the station.
Yeah.
And I am the host of the morning show. We talk about everything local. We talk about things going on in our lives.
Yeah.
We talk about all the things you want to know. So like if there's a cool spot in Nashville, we're talking about it. We've been there.
Yeah.
If there's something going on in my life, like something to do with wedding planning or like the fact that I got engaged last year
Love
or
it.
even things that are kind of deep, you know, like when my dog passed away, things like that. We talk about those things on the air.
Yeah. Y'all keep it pretty real.
Yeah, our whole vibe is just we're your friends. You know what I mean? We want to talk about things that friends talk about and start your morning off right and make you know that like your day can be great. And if you're going through something, we're probably going through it too. Like everybody goes through things together.
Yeah.
Like we just want that camaraderie and that community.
Yeah.
That's always our goal. And I have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, you
It's my
sound
dream
like
job.
it. Every time we've talked about it, I mean, you are equally as passionate as like how I am about Dandy Fitness. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's so nice to see that because I feel like a lot of people just hate their jobs. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Oh my God.
these days, and just can't stand. You know, it's like that 9 to 5 or whatever it is. And you seem to have really kind of created your own kind of community within it, you know, and make it fun and exciting. So, which is awesome.
It really is my dream, like my dream job. I've wanted this for so long and I've had so many jobs in between to know that this is it.
Yeah.
You know, like I've experimented with so many different things.
You've tried a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yep,
I was a waitress. I worked in retail. I worked as a secretary. I worked in a law office.
Okay.
I've done so many different things, odds and ends.
And you grew up in New Jersey, right?
yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Jersey girl.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. And then you moved here because of 107.5, right?
Yeah,
Like,
because of
okay.
my job.
Okay. So what were you doing prior, like that, like connected you to that?
Yeah, so I started doing radio in college. I did an internship at Z100 in New York City with Elvis Duran in the morning show.
Okay.
Which, if you don't know anything about radio, that is like the spot.
Okay.
New York is the #1 market. Elvis Duran in the morning show is the #1 show in the country. Like
Okay.
it's where you want to be.
Yeah.
I still to this day don't know how I got that gig.
Yeah?
As the intern, it blew my mind. Like I literally didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
For like 2 days.
So wait, so you were in college and then like got out of college and then went to the internship, or it was during?
During college, I
Okay.
had that internship.
Okay,
I didn't
cool.
tell anybody for like 2 days because I was
Yeah.
like, that wasn't real.
Right.
I truly did not
Yeah.
feel like it was real.
I love
and I
that.
didn't want to tell somebody that it happened and then be like, oh my God, it was a dream.
Right.
It
Yes.
was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I had my internship. And then after that, I ended up working different odds and ends jobs in radio, but not on air.
Okay.
With the goal of being on air one day.
Yeah.
So hard to get into.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of jobs and there are a lot of people that want to do it. So
Right.
trying to get an on-air gig took me forever.
Okay.
I finally got one in LA. I worked for Zach
wow.
Sang Show
Okay.
as a co-host and a content producer for him for a
love that.
year. Pandemic hit,
Okay.
lost my job. There were a bunch of people that just lost their jobs during that time, and
Yeah.
I happened to be one of them. And I thought my career was over because the radio industry, like many industries during the pandemic, everyone was losing their jobs. Like
Yeah.
these extremely talented people that I knew were losing their jobs.
Right.
And I was like, there's just no way I'm ever going to get back into it.
Yeah.
Just when I finally got to the point that I wanted to get
Yes.
to,
Yeah.
I felt like everything crumbled around me.
Right.
And I had to kind of like sit there and be like, do I want to continue to pursue this?
Yeah.
Or do I want to reroute my life?
Right.
I'm lucky enough that back at home, my stepdad owns a company.
Okay.
So I was working for him here and there, like
Okay.
doing things to keep myself busy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like not even just to like make money, but to like keep myself freaking busy because
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that's got to be on the go.
Right.
When I'm not doing anything,
Were
I
you
do
with
well.
AJ at this point?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So y'all
Yeah.
were together. Okay. And so was he teaching? He was a school teacher.
Yes,
Right? Okay.
special ed special ed teacher. He was teaching. He was going to move out. This is the craziest part too. He was going to move out to LA to be with me because we were doing long distance for a year.
Okay.
This man is nuts, by the way. Just side note, because I met him, told him basically like, hey, this is my job. I got to go where the jobs are.
Yeah.
And this is my life. This is what I've dedicated everything to. So when that job comes up, I'm going to have to go.
Yeah.
If you're not cool with that, I fully get it.
Yeah.
But let's not see each other anymore. Like, let's end it here. Like, after a few months, like, I respect you. You respect me. We're just not going to be together. Yeah. And if you're down to come with me, wherever that may be, because there's a chance it's in the middle of nowhere, Kansas.
Right.
Then we'll keep doing this. And he was like, I'm a special ed teacher. I can go anywhere.
Wow.
I'll go with you. And I was like, okay, crazy man.
I
whatever.
love that.
So we did long distance for a year though, because I got the gig after he had just signed a year contract to continue working at his school.
Okay. Which he was where then?
In New Jersey.
Oh, he was still in New Jersey. Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So he was still in New Jersey, and he was supposed to move out a month after I lost my job. Okay. So he had quit his job, was trying to get a job in LA. Yeah. I lost my job. We both moved in with my dad.
Oh my gosh.
And we lived with my dad for 8 months.
Okay.
While we tried to like reconfigure what we were going to do,
out,
and try to figure out like what's the next step. He was lucky enough to find another job in New Jersey as a teacher. So that worked out for that year. I like went back to podcasting because I was podcasting for a while, and
like you had your own show.
Yeah, it was called 20 Somethings Doing Nothing.
Okay.
Oh my God, we used to have so much fun on that. I made the podcast because I wasn't getting any on air gigs.
I love it.
So I made my own opportunity by creating a podcast, and 100%. I loved it and learned so much from it.
Yeah.
So I started doing that again to keep myself busy. Okay. Found the job opening in Nashville. Yeah. Applied just to apply because there were only very few jobs that were open. So I was applying to everything.
Okay.
And ended up getting it.
That's incredible. So let me ask you this. Did you know about like 175 before? No, it was completely like random. Like you didn't know anything about it, applied, and then just,
yeah, absolutely.
That was similar to me with like like you talk about the internships and everything, like with the living in Vermont. People were like, why Vermont? And I'm like, I applied for an internship because I had 2 weeks left on the lease in college. So like, I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like I had a career path that was like, oh, this is what, it's like, just go to a gym and like train people or like, and I was like, I'm going to apply for something random as heck. And it was that resort. It ended up being the best thing ever. So I definitely get that about the whole like super random, didn't have any, like didn't know anybody that knew anything about it. Nope. And just went up there, fresh eyes, fresh everything. And it was one of the best memories I have.
Sometimes life just finds a way.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird.
Yeah. It's awesome though. I love that. So when you guys, so that was 2021 when you moved
2021
here.
when I moved here. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been 3 years.
Okay.
Time flies.
Yeah. So how do you feel about like, because again, you are, you're how old? Are you
31?
31. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So to be in this position right now where you're like, okay, things are like going really well. Like I have like my dream, all this stuff, whatever. Like what was kind of the goal of wanting to add a healthy lifestyle regimen into that?
Ooh, great question. Yeah. So I really noticed I fell off the wagon, like fully when it comes to doing anything physical. I have an autoimmune disease. So I have Lyme disease and arthritis from the Lyme disease.
Gotcha.
So I have an autoimmune disease and I really had to take hold of my health in the last few years. When I first got it, I was 22 when I was diagnosed. Yeah. So it's been almost 10 years. Wow. But I went through many phases when this happened, right? I went through the lull of we didn't know what was wrong with me and I genuinely thought I was going to die. Like I went to so many different specialists, so many different people. I literally remember crying to my dad because I was like, I'm almost 100% certain that I have some rare cancer that's incurable.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what it is and that's what's going on because I truly felt like I was dying. I had aches and pains throughout my entire body. I was sleeping 16 hours a day. I had terrible brain fog. I was mixing up things that I would never mix up.
Right.
It was like scary. I would cry in the shower washing my hair because it hurt to wash my hair. Jeez. It was so bad. So went to a bunch of different doctors, finally got diagnosed with Lyme, finally got diagnosed with arthritis because of the Lyme.
Okay.
And then I could try to find different treatments that would work for me.
Yeah.
But that just like, it made me so angry.
Yeah.
Like I was so mad. I went through being so sad and feeling like I was going to die.
Yeah.
To so angry that I was so young and I felt the way that I felt.
Right.
It felt so unfair.
I was about to say, it feels unfair. It feels like, why me?
Yeah.
Like, so did they say anything about like, it's not genetic type of thing, right?
No,
like,
yeah.
with the
So I got
Lyme.
bit by a tick randomly one day. Don't know when. No idea when. Like it could have happened years before any of my symptoms even came up.
Yeah.
We have no clue when it happened.
Yeah.
One of their big things that they kind of like came to was like, you probably got bit on your head because I have a lot of hair.
Yes.
And
yes,
also
same.
anybody doesn't check their head for anything
Yeah.
like that. And I live in a very heavily wooded area in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And it's not something that we ever really talked about or looked into. Like
can't.
if you had ticks on you, you would
Freaking
pull them
bugs.
off,
Yeah,
you know?
can't.
But nobody talked about Lyme disease. Like
Yeah.
nobody ever talked about it or the effects that it has on your body
Right.
and the way that it can heavily impact you. So, and also fun fact, this was 10 years ago and I'm hoping it's better now. I don't know for sure, but they would not test me for Lyme disease when I was going to the hospital and to all these specialists and things like that because a lot of people didn't believe that Lyme disease had the effects that it had, number one. And number two, a lot of insurance companies would not cover a Lyme test. And the Lyme
Crazy.
test isn't even 100% certain that you have Lyme disease. Like it's not a foolproof test. It's crazy. Like there's still so much that we have to learn.
I have other clients that have autoimmune disorders and different ones, but never had Lyme disease. And so that's like crazy to me that they don't even have a test to show. But also it's not because with everything I've dealt with autoimmune, they're like, yeah, we have these markers. So it doesn't tell you what exactly it is unless it's really bad. Like if it's like lupus or something, right? And you're like, cool. So we're just like not that bad, but we're kind of bad. Like it's that variance of like, yeah, like there's nothing, I don't know what they told you your protocol was, but they're like with me, they're like, yeah, like don't stress.
The protocol that they gave me and the medication that they gave me, I found out years later was not correct. They should have kept me on the medication that I was supposed to take doxycycline for probably a month long.
Okay, yeah.
They gave it to me for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then they were like, and then you should be fine. Was not fine.
Right.
Like was still not good. I had so many things after that like were wrong with me because when you get Lyme, you can get a bunch of co-infections as well.
Okay.
Because a tick carries so many diseases. They're so gross, those little.
Yeah.
So ticks carry so many different diseases, and unless you actually have the tick, it's so hard to test for everything.
Yeah, you don't, okay.
Because
I see.
again, insurance and the way that our entire medical system is set up is so messed up. So I had to then go to even more doctors and do more things. So I was just angry. I was so mad about everything.
At this point, were you still under like just to ask about like insurance stuff, were you still under your parents' insurance?
I was under my dad's.
Okay.
Which is honestly great insurance. I was lucky
that
it happened at that time because my insurance now, crap.
Right. Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Horrible now.
Yeah.
Like I was lucky to be under my dad's insurance when all this happened because I didn't have to pay out of pocket. If I did it now, I'd be spending tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket to get everything sorted.
Right.
It would have been insane.
Yeah.
But during that time, after the anger became like self-loathing.
Yeah.
And I just felt bad for myself.
Yeah.
Which is like the most gross feeling that you can feel is feeling bad for yourself.
And
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, I had that with my injury with my leg, right? Because it was like I lost everything, right? That's how I looked at everything. And it was that depression state of why me, why this, whatever. And then it finally had to be that moment of like, we're here. I don't know if it'll ever get better. And I had a friend of mine who's a chiropractor look at me and say, look, you may have this like numbness in your leg forever. Like we can't tell you. And I was just, at first I was angry about that, but at least he was like upfront about it. So I wasn't like waiting for a solution or waiting for the day of like, you know what I mean? Or to be better or whatever. It was just like this is your now reality. We got to rock on with it and change the mindset. But I definitely get that. And I think that it's important that because especially with like strong women and like feeling very, powerful with everything that we have, it's really hard. And it's really something important to note that like you have to be that mindset of like, I am not in control of this.
Yeah.
When like you're so used to like, you've said like you applied for the internship and then you got
there.
like,
I'm a hustler. I'm going to do everything on my own. I don't need anybody else.
So what helped you? Like, what was the thing? Like what kind of got you out of that?
Right. So I will say like my fiance is very health and wellness oriented.
Okay.
And also a lot of my friends are.
Yeah.
And truly this all started, I think it's been about 3 years. Yeah, it's been about 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
felt horrible
Yeah.
outside of the things that were autoimmune related,
Right.
like outside of my joints hurting and my brain fog and things like that. I felt bloated.
Yeah.
I felt uncomfortable every day. Like
Right.
my body just hurt outside of everything else. And I was like, I hate feeling like this. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I didn't want to take the medication that they had me on anymore because it was, a chemo medication as well. Like it was heavy duty shit. And really intense stuff where like the doctor that I went to, the protocol every day was I would have to recite back to her after I left, like I could not get pregnant. Not that I was trying, but I could not get pregnant because if I did, my baby had almost 100% chance of birth defect, which if it can do that to a baby, what is it doing to my insides?
Right, 100%.
Like how is it impacting my body?
Yes.
And while medication is amazing, we've made so many different like great strides in the medical field, which is so important. I was like, I don't want to be on this for the rest of my life. I'm so young. What can I do where that can be my like last resort?
Right.
So I was doing a cross country trip after I lost my job with my other two friends who also work in radio, Carla Marie and Anthony. They have been like my mentors and my best friends. We met each other at Elvis Duran at C100, so we've known each other forever.
Love
and we were
it.
doing cross country, and I was telling her, she's very health and wellness oriented as well.
Yeah.
I was telling her how I felt, and she was like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
And I was like, but it feels like normal. Like everybody feels bloated. Like we're girls. Like
Yeah.
girlhood. We're always bloated.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, girl, that's not normal.
Yeah.
And she literally set up an appointment with her doctor, who is a holistic doctor,
Nice.
for me, and was
Yeah.
like, you're going to the doctor.
Good.
Don't care. I'm driving you there. Like,
Love
you're going to
it.
go get tested. You're going to see. She's like, you're going to find out that you're probably intolerant to food that you've been eating.
Right.
And she's going to be able to give you holistic ways to deal with like your joints and your
Love
autoimmune
that.
disorder. So I found out I was intolerant to 80% of the things that I was eating on a daily basis, which was making me feel horrible.
For sure.
And I found out that if you cut out gluten,
Yeah.
because it's an inflammatory, had no idea about that.
Right.
Fun fact,
Yeah.
gluten is an inflammatory.
Yeah.
And dairy,
Yeah.
that if I cut those things out, I will probably feel better in my joints.
Right.
I've been gluten-free ever since.
Yeah.
I would love to be dairy-free entirely, but
Right,
like
right.
I've really scaled back on the dairy.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have not been on medication in over 3 years.
That's great. And I love that.
Over
and,
3 years.
And how awesome of your friend to be like, let me just roll up. Like, let's
Yeah, she was
get
like,
this.
no, you're doing this.
Yeah, which is incredible because people, like, again, all these things that we're talking about, and I feel like people listening who have not gone through autoimmune, issues or even dealt with like arthritis or anything like that, like they don't understand. But I've had several people on the podcast who have dealt with these things, dealt with psoriatic arthritis, and it's debilitating. The medicines are expensive. Mentally, yes, because again, you want to be your best. So, but it doesn't matter like how you necessarily look. It's like on the outside, because nobody would look at you and be like, oh yeah, you have autoimmune or you have Lyme or whatever, right?
Right.
And that's the same with like some of my other clients. And so people kind of treat you in a certain type of way, and because they just don't know. And even when you say it, I think that people listen to it of like, oh, like that's not really that bad or like whatever. But when your body is constantly under attack, right? So it's a fight or flight motion. Exactly. So like then if you're doing, you're eating or you're drinking these things that only exacerbate it, like people don't realize that it's just a constant struggle. Like there's never getting like up from it. Like you're just swimming in the pool, but like you're not drowning, but like you're not like swimming, you can't get out, right?
Yeah.
And so it's that constant, like you just don't stop. So I think it's very important to note that like these are very serious issues. So like if you do feel, this is like a public service ad right now. It's like if you do have issues or I feel like you're going through these struggles, you do need to reach out to a holistic doctor. Or if you don't, if it's too overwhelming, you can reach out to either of us. I'm sure you would
100%.
respond back to them as well. But like again, because it has taken me, and I told you this at the LYB when we were just working out, that like I am trying as many different methods of things because there's got to be a solution, right? In terms of like to feel our like best. I'm not saying that it's going to cure everything, right? But like at least to have a better quality of life so that we don't like get into those, into this mindset or this way of like, oh, well, it's just good enough. Right.
That's what I was tired of just being like, but this is fine.
Yeah. And settling.
It wasn't.
Right.
And
you don't settle for anything else in your life.
Exactly.
It sounds like.
So why should I settle for my health?
Exactly. So from there, when you got to after you had that encounter with the holistic doctor, then what kind of, what basically led you to, did you try working out at that point, or what was that like?
Yeah. So I tried here and there doing little things
Yeah.
and just never really found anything that I felt good about. Like nothing that I was like, oh, I'm enjoying this.
I got you.
I've never been one of those people that's like, yeah, I love running. I love skipping. I love whatever. I'm like, those are not my thing.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
I have so many friends who are like, oh, I'll run 12 miles. I'm like, that sounds horrendous to me. I'd rather gouge my eyes out with a rusty spoon.
Right.
Like, that's just not me. I'm not that person. I've played one sport like through and through my entire life. That was lacrosse. That's the only time that I actually enjoyed running because I had something that my mind was set to while I was running. You know what I mean? Like there was a goal in mind.
For sure.
So like I loved that. But outside of that, I never really had anything like that. So I've tried so many different things, but I really wanted to get on a schedule of doing more active things because we were also just talking about this when it comes to my body. I learned what my body can go through and how lucky I am that I can still do the things that I can do.
Yes.
And honestly, with this autoimmune disease, who knows how long I'll be able to. Like there may come a day that I can't.
Right.
So let me do it now.
Yep.
Let me prove to myself what I can do.
Yeah.
Let me get better each week. Like this is fun for me. Like working out with you is fun for me for many reasons. I'll give you the top 3 though, okay?
Okay.
Top 3 are, and I'm like, I'm gonna hype you up right now. So 1, I have no idea that the 50 minutes is done when the 50 minutes is done.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm done?
Yep.
That's crazy. When I'm walking, when I'm running, when I'm doing anything else, I'm like, okay, so it says 20 minutes. If I divide it by 5, then I count down from
Right.
and then I'm like, okay, then it's only
math.
and I'm like, because you try to like psych yourself up for things.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like having a goal in mind of things that I want to do feels so much better. Like when I can do stuff and when I can lift 30 pounds, no problem. And then you tell me later, like that was 30 pounds that you just did all those slams with. And I'm like, what?
Right.
Like, that's crazy. I never would have thought that I could do that.
Yeah.
I need those kinds of things. And it's nice to have somebody who doesn't look at you any type of way. Like, you're not somebody that looks at me like, okay, so you want to get fit. So, like, let's see how your arms look. Let's see how your legs are looking today. Things like that. You're like, even today, you're like, girl, your body's changing, which is like a great hype up, like as opposed to, and it's not something that you say to me every week. It's not like you're looking at me every week or I feel weird or like insecure about it.
Right.
It's when I need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I need when I need it without me even telling you that I need it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And it's a skill truly to have that because I know that you don't just do that for me, you do that for all your clients. But now I'm at a point where working out with you week to week, because we only have one session a week is what we do.
Yeah.
Feels so good to like try something different, learn new things in the gym, get to a bigger and better goal. Like I looked at myself in the mirror the other day and I was like, oh, I have a little muscle here. I'm like, okay, look at that.
100%.
You see the impacts
Yeah.
in the gym and then you see it outside the gym. And it feels so cool to do that.
Yeah.
And now I'm hooked.
Right.
So now I'm like, this is it. I found something that I like to do, which is
love
amazing. Because for a while I was like, I don't know what else to try.
Yeah.
Like, what else is there
Well,
to try?
and thank you so much for that. That was like beautifully said. And I really feel like how grateful you are after every session, which means the world to me. And that's why I do what I do, because again, you feel strong and you feel good. And like, it's awesome.
Hell
you know
yeah.
what
I'm
I mean?
Like, all right, where am I going? What am I doing next? Like, let's go.
and that's another thing too is like, and also I was gonna say when you said about the 30 pounds, or deadlifting like 115, like you did the other day.
Yes.
So, which was
I did
cool.
do that.
You had no idea,
No
right?
idea.
And that was another thing too is like, that was how I always was when I was lifting heavy and stuff. I didn't want anybody to tell me with the weights. I was like, just put the weights on, just like whatever, right? Because exactly, because I knew mentally I'd be like, there's no way 400 pounds is going up, like, or whatever, right? But it was that moment where it was just like, just put it on, I do it. And then I'm like, all right, where are we at? And they tell me, I'm like, let's go. Because again, it is that like inner critic in yourself that will come out sometimes, right? So for you to be like, oh my gosh, and you were just like shook. And
it blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? How?
Right. But you did awesome. Your form was good. It was smooth. Like everything was great. So like,
And then I went around telling everybody about it.
yes, as you should. Like feeling
I was so
capable.
proud.
Yeah. And that's what I want, right? Like I want people to feel like that because again though, and we talked about this before, because the type of regimen I have you on and everything like that, if you would have came in that day and been like, hey, I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping, I went out last night and I got, wasted, whatever, right? All these different things, I'd be like, okay, cool. Well, then we're not gonna lift heavy today. You know what I
100%.
mean? So because you were following and like you are following the regimen, the routine, and even yesterday you got your cardio in and then you came here. Like it was so great to see. So it was like, she's going to be strong enough mentally and physically today to do this. And like, that's why we did it,
And it was so cool to be able to do it and then be like, yeah, I did that.
And then, so that's how like my whole programming works. It's like, again, you start feeling more confident with that. And then therefore, then maybe you go out for a walk tomorrow. And then maybe like you've told me you've done some workouts on your own and like, or you go rock climbing with your fiance or hiking or whatever. Right. So again, it's just helping you to translate so that your whole life is encompassed with a real healthy lifestyle regimen versus just like, oh yeah, I go to the gym sometimes.
100%.
So I love that. But no, you've done amazing. And I will say my my low key like fangirl moment. So every time I go to like the borough, like I get nostalgic, right? And I'm like, let me like turn on the radio. Cause like usually I'm always on my Spotify, now, whatever. And literally I just like, I always would listen and hear you. And I was just like, man, but here's the thing. I never looked you up. I didn't know your body type, your size. I didn't know anything, but I was just like, man, that girl's such a vibe. Like I was like, but like, you know what I mean though? And I just be like, this is shit. And I had the windows down. And so it's like me feeling like high school days, but I'm like, listen, when someone found and like got you on there or whatever. And I'm just like, man, she seems so cool. Anyway. And so when I got that, this like company brand or whatever, is it BR, whatever?
Brand House.
Yeah, Brand House. They always kept sending me, I got on some list for all their food stuff. And I'm like, y'all, I was in bodybuilding preps this whole time. So I'm like, I can't keep coming to these food events. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop inviting me to the food events. Everybody else would have loved it. I could have been eating free for like for a long time. But anyway, I was just like, oh no, I keep getting invited to this. So long story short, they invited me to a night and I was like, for this like mocktail, or it was a cocktail or whatever.
It was a cocktail, yeah.
But I like am not drinking either. So I'm like, don't know why I'm invited, but you know what? It's like a Friday night or something or a Wednesday night or whatever. And I was like, I'll invite my friend. We'll go to it, get dressed up. Because I made this goal about like, especially with like all the autoimmune stuff, like focusing on stepping out of my comfort zone. Cause it's easy, like, too, like just to sit around and just rest.
God, yeah.
And so I was like, I can do that. But also I'm going to step out of my comfort zone at least one time a week, whatever. And I think even that night it was like rainy or whatever. I was like, this is a sign I shouldn't go. But I was like, I already had a blowout, like get my hair done and bought this like cute little like blazer jacket type thing, like real cheap at Molly Green before, showed up in this like romper type thing. Anyway, I get there and we're sitting there and I see some other influencers that I know and I see like people in their like couples, whatever, but a lot of just girls. And I was just kind of like, cool. Like, so I'm here with my friend Nate and who's also been on the podcast and I was like, okay, I can't just sit here with it. Like, we got to go talk to somebody. But I was like, you know what? Let's go take some pictures. Let's go on the other side of the room. So we go on the other side of the room. Again, I don't know what she looked like, whatever. But I have this girl. I asked this girl, hey, will you take a picture of me? Because she looked kind, Kate. And
she is kind.
Yeah. And I mean, because seriously, because some people were they were not putting off of good energy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I talked to the owner of the thing and that was cool, whatever. But anyway, so go over there. I'm like, let's just head out.
Very influency.
Yes. And
not to be rude, because there are plenty of very nice influencers, but there was
100%.
a specific vibe
that
they were giving. I'm 100% with you.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm not here for this. Like, let's just go eat food after this. Yes. Anyway, it's so basically we go to, or we go across there. I'm like, well, let's get at least a photo. I think the lighting will be better over there. So we ask her, and so she takes a picture, and then she's like, well, how do you know, whatever? So we start talking to her. She was so awesome. Just telling her about like fitness and how she like wants to do 5Ks and things like that. And Nate's kind of, listening as well and talking. And then I heard you talking over there. Hey, you guys, thank you for always listening, subscribing, following, liking, all the things with the Love Your Body podcast. If you feel like this episode resonates with you and you can share with a friend, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, you guys, we're having so many things coming up. We're going to have the Love Your Body Challenge happening in July. Make sure to tune in for that. If you ever need any online programming, personal training, come to the LYB, meet me, see me, all the things. You can reach out at Danny@DandyFitness.com, as well as follow on all socials, DandyFitness1. And make sure if you need a little pick-me-up for the summer, get you some fight energy, and you can get that at DandyFitness.com. Thanks so much.
Hey, I'm Ricki Sanchez, host of Ricki, Zach, and Mano in the Morning on 107.5 The River. You can listen to us every morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So that's Central Time. Or you can listen on the free iHeartRadio app wherever you are. It's always available. We have a podcast, everything you need to know. And if you want to follow me on social media, it's at that chick Ricki, Ricki on everything.
So I heard you talking and I was just like, I know that voice. I know that voice. And she had said, she was like, I'm with like 107.5, like the river. And she was like, and that's like Ricki and over there. And I was like, what? I was like, that's her. And so it was just so funny. But you were like, you were going on this conversation with the dude or whatever. So
I met somebody from New York.
Okay.
So we were like really bonding on New
literally,
York stuff.
I was like already, and me and Kate were having such a great conversation that I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to bother her, whatever. If it's meant to be, like, I'll meet her, some other time or whatever, right? Like, I was like kind of like that confident in it that I was like, I'm going to meet her at some other time, so it's okay. And I'm kind of glad it went down like that, because what happened was I think I reached out to Kate. I was like, hey, loved our conversation. Would love to have you at the LYB. Like, it's on me. Just like come through, because she said that she was kind of struggling with her lifestyle regimen and finding what would work best for her and stuff. And I was like, yeah, just come on. So anyway, she comes in one night. It was like my last session, like of the night or whatever. And it's such a vibe. And it's like a kind of like a rave in there. It's like dark. And we just had the best workout and the best time and kept, learning about her stuff and everything. And she was so sweet. And she had mentioned about you. And I was like, yeah, like have her come through, like would love that. And so when she connected, because I think it was more so about, I was even trying to like talk about like promotional stuff, what I mean, whatever. And so anyway, but we just got to talking and I was like, come on in, like, let's see how it goes and everything. And then you were like, let's do this. And
I loved it.
And it was so special. And I was just like, how funny is it that, like, again, guys, this is why I'm bringing this up, that like to one thing of stepping out of your comfort zone, right? And then to being like, take the pictures, which, that again, I always say that, right? Like to do that and just ask a stranger, it just prompted a great conversation. And then from there, led to us sitting right here, right? So anyway, so you just never know. So like, I know for 100% if I don't go somewhere, like then no opportunities are happening.
100%, yeah.
But if I show up, it could have just been nothing. It could have been that me and Kate didn't talk and we just went whatever and nothing came from it, whatever. But I wouldn't have known unless I showed up.
Unless you try. Yeah, exactly. You got to do things.
And that's how I feel like with my clients and my girls, like when y'all show up to LIB, like that's the kind of like, that's the environment I want you guys to have of like, okay, you showed up, you put the effort in, I can at least make this a fun time for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, and I can tell you that we all appreciate it because there are days too, because I know other people probably struggle with this too. Mm-hmm. There are days where I'm like, I don't want to work out today.
Right.
I want to sleep. Or like, I want to just sit out by the pool or I want to go shopping or whatever it might be. I can think of 1,000 excuses to not do it.
Right.
But I'm like, no, Ricki, you're going to have a good time. You're going to really not even realize that it's gone by so fast.
Right.
And then you're going to feel better afterwards.
100%.
And every time it's the same thing. Whenever I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then I come and then I'm like in it and then I'm in it to win it. And then I'm like, oh, it's done.
Right.
What?
And that's the other thing too, is I think that's important to mention is that that's that feeling. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's when people were looking for goals, I'm like, that goal should be that you want to feel that way. Like that's what you're going for.
Right.
So you know how you're going to feel after, right? So it's like by just showing up, you know that you'll feel better afterwards. Yeah. No matter if if you are doing your cardio on your own or you're going rock climbing or whatever, it's like once it's done, you're going to be like, man, thank you. Now I can sit here, have a do a podcast, do all the things I need to go do with my like crazy busy life, because I know you're so busy all the time. And you know what I mean? And it hopefully is giving you more energy and you feel more successful, with everything that you're doing. And I can see that, like I said, and already even the short time that we've worked together. And it's been really cool.
The thing too that I try to remind myself of is like, it's an hour of my day.
Right.
It's an hour of my day.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. Yeah. How many hours do I sit on the couch watching Netflix?
Right.
Not really accomplishing anything except for just watching something. Yeah. How many hours do I spend doing, I don't know, XYZ, whatever it could be? Like it's 1 hour. I can get through 1 hour.
For sure.
And when I'm doing cardio, I'm like, it's 35 minutes on the treadmill.
Exactly.
You can do 35 minutes. I watch a TV show.
Exactly. You make, again, you make it work with your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing I think that so many people get turned off about, especially if they are coming out from like an autoimmune. Like, I think that it's one of those things where, you talked to me about, earlier you said something about like your joints just hurt so bad that it hurt to move. So therefore you didn't want to move more, right? From what I've learned, and even with my injury, when I was like in the worst height of my injury, I was sitting and I wanted to just relax. Like, cause it's COVID, I just want to sit and whatever when I was in between training clients virtually. And I just remember being like, they told me to walk 3 times a day. Go walk, you will feel better. And I, like, just for the reference, I hate walking. Like, I used to be a runner. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, the walking is like, this is so pointless kind of thing. Anyway, now I do it better and, like, whatever. And I go walk and stuff and mentally, and it's good. But I was just always like, let's go run, get it done. We're out of it. But anyway, now, so I walk more. But with my legs. So I would have to get up, and every time I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I feel so amazing. It's like, yes, like that's the feeling, like that will help. But like, because they told me if I sit for longer, like that is where the pain is just going to sit there. I'm going to get arthritis in my back. I'm going to be wrecked. And like, I'm never going to feel the same. You know what I mean? If I just sit.
The worst thing that you can do for yourself is not be active,
Yeah.
which is just for healthy people too.
Right.
But for anybody who has any sort of autoimmune or honestly anything that's bothering them, your doctor's always going to tell you not to just sit.
Yeah.
Like rest, but move.
So I think something that people would want to hear about is how do you, because with your job, like with everything you have going on, you know, you have to make appearances all the time. You have like, and there's a lot of drinking involved with certain things, right? Like, okay. So talk to them about like how you have kind of adapted your healthy lifestyle into that.
Okay.
And like, do you feel, you know, I mean, again, like, how do you feel like with all of that?
It's definitely a give and take. I've learned that for one, your girl likes a good drink. So I'm not going to cut out alcohol.
Right.
That's just not me as a person.
Yeah.
Not that like I'm drinking every single day either. You know what I mean? So I allow myself to have those little pleasures, you know, without suffocating myself.
Right.
But also knowing that like, all right, if I'm drinking and stuff, maybe I'm not going to have gluten-free pasta with my 7 alcoholic drinks tonight while I'm out on Broadway or whatever I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to balance it out.
Yeah.
So it's being mindful of what I'm eating. I also love to eat at home now.
Which is
with
great.
all of the things that I'm like, I love eating out. Don't get me wrong. Love going to a restaurant. But I like meals at home because I know what's in them. I know what I'm making.
Yes.
I know how I like to make it. My fiance is a phenomenal cook.
Yeah.
So like right now
Love that.
he's on summer break because he's a teacher. So he's on summer break and he's cooking a lot. I love it. So that is like also very helpful. Like cooking meals at home and knowing what's in them and knowing what I'm eating. And just because honestly being gluten-free makes it hard to kind of indulge in anything else anyways. Like if I'm out, I'm not going to end up really getting like pizza, pasta, anything that's like heavy carb load or heavy sugar, like all the pastries and cakes and stuff like that. They all have gluten in them. So I'm really, when I'm out, eating like chicken, I'm eating steak, I'm eating vegetables, things like that. Unless I'm going to a specific place that I know like they got gluten-free pizza or pasta.
And you can feel,
and I'm like, I can eat that and that's whatever. So like having that lifestyle already kind of helps. And then even when it comes to drinks, I'm mostly drinking like seltzers and things like that. I'm not drinking beer. I miss beer so much, so I'm not gonna lie to you.
But it like it messes
but that's
you up.
empty calories. You know what I mean? It has nothing but stuff that you don't need, and it will totally throw you off.
Add to the blow, add to all the
mess up the way that
inflammation.
you look at yourself and feel about yourself because it's all just bad stuff in beer. So I'm not drinking beers or anything like that. I'm drinking like seltzers, clear stuff. And I stick to that for the most part. I also like, as I got older, realized that I don't need to drink that much. You know, it's okay to go to a concert and have a drink. I don't need to have 5 or 6.
We talked about that for sure. We both have gone through that, learned our lessons.
So I have definitely learned that, and that helps too. So with the lifestyle of like going to appearances and going to concerts, which sounds so funny for me to be like, my job going to concerts. Like, I love it. It's so much fun, but it comes with that lifestyle. It's like drinks and greasy food that's at Bridgestone Arena or wherever you're going out to these concerts. It's not healthy. So I eat beforehand, either at home or I know what I can get from 5th and Broadway that's like healthier. And then I go to the concert. Like I prep myself. I know what I'm getting myself into.
Exactly. You just plan. And again, I think that so many people look at it as like, oh, I just want to like live in the moment. It's like cool, but then you have to live in the moments after where you feel miserable because you didn't plan. You know what I mean? And so it's like, again, it's not a harsh, nothing that you've said has been like super strict or that you're, you know, like on a macro count or this or that or whatever. You're literally just piecing it together, being mindful. And showing your body that strength training and feeling strong is like what it needs, right? To feel your best. And then that's translating into you being more productive.
100%.
And so I love it. So again, it's like, I think that so many times people look at people like us where they're like, okay, like strong, like in it, like just like, you know, I know a lot of people look up to you, you know, and they listen to your show and stuff like that. And so they're just like, well, how would I ever get to like where Ricki's at or whatever?
Yeah.
But it's literally like you are taking it one day at a time and you're
my God,
piecing
yeah.
it together. Like you didn't come in the first session and I was like, okay, we're going to deadlift 115 pounds today.
Hell no.
You're going to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
I would have been like,
right,
a what?
right, exactly. Or like, you know, again, taking it and having that routine is huge. So I love that.
And it gets easier as you do it.
Yes.
Because then you feel good and that's all you want to do.
Right.
So like it's really just getting over the hump of this sucks. I don't want to do this. That was when I became gluten-free.
Yeah.
If you were around me for the first 3 months, I was a miserable human being.
Right.
I was so annoying because I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
'Cause everything I ate had gluten in it.
Right.
You also don't realize the amount of stuff that has gluten in it already
100%.
until you become gluten free. So like the amount of, I had to revamp my entire life.
Yeah.
So the first 3 months I was miserable.
Yeah.
My poor fiance, bless him.
Yeah.
And now at this point it's so normal and natural and whatever that I don't even think about it anymore.
And yes, exactly. And I love that because again, it is just, sometimes it takes, you know, it takes time. And then you're like, okay, now we're in it. We got it. And it's awesome. So tell me what has been your like, you know, as of right now, you know, you got this awesome show. You are, you know, fiance, you know, all these things. That's awesome. So like, tell them like kind of like what's something that is your like dream that you're like wanting to fight for, you know what I mean? Because again, we talk about like physical goals all the time, right? And you just want to be your healthiest, be your strongest, right? But what is it like mentally? Like, what are you kind of dreaming about? Like,
oh, I love this question. I have so many dreams. I'm crazy because I dream all the time. I've always been a dreamer. I've always been that person that's been like, I want this, I want that, I want these crazy things in life.
Yeah.
So my dream now, and I love my job so much, so don't get me wrong. But my dream now is to do something within like the TV realm.
yeah.
I would love to do long form interviews with artists, kind of like what Zane Lowe does. I would love to do like red carpet interviews.
I could see that.
I would love to host a late night TV show. I've been saying that for a while.
Oh my gosh. I
would love that.
Like note this right now, Ricki. Like I will be a guest. I will start you off, whatever you need. Like I know.
Like, I would
come
love
through.
that. That's a goal that
my
I've had
gosh.
for probably since I started in radio.
I could see that.
I was like, I would love, or right before that, I was like, I would love to do just like late night TV.
Yeah.
There's not that many females that do it either. So
Right.
like, I would love to do
And I
late
wonder
night TV.
why that is, you
And
know?
yeah. And I'm very much a feminist. I'm very much one of those people that's like, women can do anything they put their minds to. Women in morning radio, there is not that many.
I wanted to ask you that. Yeah. Is there like, what's the kind of demographic with that? Or like, is like, for especially with 107.5, like, are there a lot of other females around? Is it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So we have some females that are also on like on the weekends.
Okay.
On 107.5 The River, but I'm the only female. I think still, it may have changed recently because we're constantly changing people out. But for a long time, I was the only female in the entire station.
Wow.
Like the whole station was male dominated. It's a very male dominated industry.
Well, I was about to ask, and were you like the youngest, would you say? Or they're younger than you? Or like,
Yeah, I am the youngest.
Okay. So we both kind of have that in similar in the retrospective, like fitness is usually a male dominated, right? And then there's like, I've usually always been the only female or like the only full-time female or around those areas. So I definitely get how lonely that can feel, but also how it's like kind of treading in like the water a little bit, right? Because again, you come off assertive and you come off in a way, and then maybe it's deemed as like a little bit,
I've been called bitchy. I've been called rude. I've been called anything that you can think of right now. I've been called that. Not because that's what I was being, but because I would stick up for myself.
Yeah.
Because I have no problem saying what I want. I have no problem going for what I want. I have no problem having an opinion.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, unfortunately, when women are like that, we're called so many things.
Right.
But men are fine to be that way.
Right.
It's like, oh, but that's just male dominance.
Right.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And half the time, it's not male dominance. You're being an ass.
Right, exactly. Yes, it's like call it for what it is. Like,
Yeah.
because I know I can snap. I know I can be whatever. So I get it.
And trust me, I've definitely had my
Right?
moments where I'm like, yo, Ricki,
And
reel it back in.
And I'll own that, right? I have no problem with that. But it is like, no, just because like, I mean, I've had men say stuff like, to me like, oh, you must be on your cycle.
Oh,
it's like,
yep, heard that.
It's like, actually, no. But you know, but yeah, it's like stuff like that. And it's like, no, I'm this pleasant all the time, you know, or whatever.
Yep.
But like, just kind of mess with them back. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I can't stand that. Like, it's so annoying. And it is that frustration though. And I talk about this all the time because like one day when I get on Survivor, I
love that.
That's
Hell
like,
yeah.
That's like one of my dreams. And like,
Hell
people,
yeah.
which is so funny because, you know, we're talking about bugs and I'm like, nope. But like, the plot twist, like I would be so great for TV because I'd be freaking out every moment I get, like whatever.
By the end of it, though, you're going to be best friends with the bugs.
Oh, 100%.
Insects will be your
I'm gonna
besties.
eat them. They're gonna be my food source, bruh. And grill them up, cool, crunchy, whatever. I'll eat it if I get hungry enough.
Gotta do what you gotta do, right? For the dreams,
exactly.
Make it work.
But that's the thing is, I always say that people are like, "Yeah, okay, Danny." But again, I am that dreamer as well, and I've like manifested and I've trusted in God's plan for me and everything like that. But not even knowing like how it was going to happen or why or whatever. And it just happens. And it's literally like, because I just kept working hard and things like that would happen. But anyway, but with the Survivor thing, it's just like, I sit there and think about it of, if you look at how many male to females have won, right? But like what kills me, a guy sheds a tear. Oh,
I know.
Oh my gosh, it's like he's so like, you know, it's amazing.
So
and he gets $1 million.
emotions.
But the girl that cries, they're like, she's being dramatic and oh my gosh, we got to vote her off now, whatever. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like in this century, like this is how we're doing still. Like I get it back, whatever, okay, whatever. But also I feel like we've just come such a long way. But then you get back on this island and people revert back to that whole notion of like, well, she can't be trustworthy because, you know, she's a little dramatic or she's loud. Or especially if I've seen girls come out, you know, guns blazing. Like, okay, you get this, you get this, you get this. Let's build a tent or let's build a hut. And yeah, but it's like, and then they're like, oh, she's too good to control. It's like, well, do y'all want a shelter or nah?
Yeah.
Do you want somewhere to sleep? Yeah. Or not. Like if
you don't want me to do it, you better do it.
Exactly. And they won't. So it's just kind of like, I watch that too. So some people are always like, oh, you'd be so good at it because you would be like so assertive and you'd be like, yeah, this, I like, honestly, like, I kind of chill. Because I just know with the gameplay. And I studied communication studies in school and the dark side of communication. So that's why I love that, because of the whole, like in that form, it's just the best. I feel like it's the best show in terms of, this is not a sponsor, Dad. I wish it was, man. I wish I could be like, I know. So I was like, I wish I could be like, I want to go on there someday, you know, like season 49 or whatever. Anyway, but, Right. But it is one of those things where it would just be the best human experiment because of the whole tactic of like, you know, who can be trusted, whatever, at the end of the day and all that stuff. So anyways, I just love the communication dialogue and stuff.
That is also a great example of like everything. What I say in my life when it comes to my career is you got to play the game to change the game. And it's very similar to that mindset. So like a lot of it is being strategic because I've dealt with misogyny, racism, everything that you could possibly think of in this industry. And it's not going anywhere, unfortunately. So you have to learn how to like, and when I say play the game, I don't mean like be sneaky or conniving.
Right.
You know, like don't be sneaky and conniving. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like you got to learn when you need to just sit back and be like, okay, that person just kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like that person sucks and that's not on you to take on what they're trying to push on you.
Right.
Like when they're coming at you saying things about women or about Hispanics or about any of those things that would offend you or hurt you.
Right.
It's not about you. It's more about them.
Right.
Like they have their own thing that they need to work out. Let them work it out. That's playing the game. You know what I mean? It's not like letting it get under your skin, letting it bother you, letting it get to you in a point that you blow up or lose your mind or get angry with this person. And then it's a screaming match and then you lose your job or something over it.
Right.
Because then you are that erratic, emotional, over the top woman that they think that you are in their head. So it's like, it's a game of just making sure. And it's so annoying that we have to be that way because most men don't. But that's what I mean by like play the game to change the game. Because then hopefully later on down the road, my goal is like not only to have a great radio show and like make people feel so good every single morning, but to make sure that whenever I do leave radio, that I leave it better than the way that I came into it. Like that people don't have to go through that anymore.
Yeah,
I don't ever want someone to go through the things that I had to go through in this industry. Like I don't want that.
Right.
I want them to feel at home and comfortable and happy and supported all the time.
For sure. I love that. And that's so special. And that's, again, we align a lot in that whole message because that's how I want people to feel, because they have gone through so many things in the gym and so many bad experiences. I mean, do you know how many people I've talked to that were like, yeah, I've been in the gym since, 2000 when so-and-so did this, or a man did this, or, or somebody gave me this negative comment, and then they just never went back.
Yeah.
And again, you can be like, oh, well, they should have, like, whatever. It's like, again, it's like when you have experiences like that, especially when you are putting yourself out there, it's kind of like when you have a crush and you're like, I like you. And they're like, yeah, like I'm dating Susie over here. And you're like, awesome. And you're like heartbroken. It's that whole mindset. So it's like, how do you have somebody rebuild that? Like, it's hard to rebuild it alone. And like, I felt very alone in my journey. And I had so many things like that said to me over the course of things. And people just felt like I had the face that they could come like say those things to, which I've never understood.
Right.
Because I really don't feel like I look that like approachable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe when I was like heavier, I guess I thought, I don't know. But I don't know. It was just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know why you feel like you can comment on my legs right up to my face, but like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And it just get uncomfortable. And it was one of those things where, like, again, like you're saying, that is a them issue, you guys. So if someone comes at you or they try to correct your form, or they try to do whatever, they're doing what they think is like, I don't know, best or whatever. It's kind of just like take it as it is and like move forward. Or like I always tell people to like put it back, like my clients, like put it back on me. Like, actually my client or my trainer says do it like this. So
yeah.
And like move on, or like actually I'm gonna like, I let people like use my slogans, or I'll tell them to like use my slogans in those instances and be like, you know what, I'm just like loving my body today. Because if people don't know how to respond to that.
I know, because
you know what I mean?
It is being at the gym and just honestly living everyday life
Yeah.
is a vulnerable thing to do.
Right.
And when you're a woman, and whether it's at the gym or walking down the street or in a picture on social media, whatever it may be, like people think that they have whatever right to say whatever they want to you.
Right.
And not to say that you shouldn't let it bother you, because it's a humanistic value to have. Like, it's going to bother you. I understand that. But
don't sit in it.
Yeah. When
like,
you
just
dwell
move
in it,
forward.
when you fight back, things like that. Like, sometimes you just don't even need to do that. It's just like, okay, great. Well, because you have a bunch of insecurities, dude. If you're coming at me and saying whatever you need to say to me about things, it's probably because you're insecure about your legs or the way that you're forming.
Here's what's so funny to me. So I put up this photo of me in my like bikini or whatever, my for my bodybuilding stuff, whatever. And it was just a day I felt good about, like after my check-in, and I was just like, I was half asleep. I was like kind of whatever. And like, anyway, I took a photo. I wasn't really posed. I was just like in it, posted it or like whatever. And literally got so many likes, all these things, whatever. And I was like, cool, like whatever. But like read the caption, like read what I'm saying, not just the picture. Anyway, but I was feeling really good about myself. And I saw a comment, and like it was this old man, but he was just like, yeah, just need the thighs to not touch together. And I was like, do you not think first off, that I'm like not aware that they are touching? Like, I'm very aware at this time, you know what I mean? And again, nothing's wrong with them touching. I'm not saying that. It's just that, like, I think it's funny how people feel the need to comment about those things when it's like, do you not think that like, you know what I mean? And like, and also, why does it matter? Like, but I've had that happen to several clients before. People will comment on like that they're, XYZ or whatever, they're overweight or obese. It's like, do you not think that the person doesn't know that? Like, so we don't need to add more like already self-negative talk that we have, plus then your outer talk, then plus maybe their trauma from like growing up. But like, you know what I mean? It's just like you continually get buried under stuff. Yeah. And it's just simply like, I've never understood that. When the video went viral for the tire flip, hundreds of thousands of comments on my booty. Like just on my booty, like how it wasn't, oh, is it developed? Is it thick enough? Is it big enough? Is it good? And I was like,
you're such a fucking tire.
Right. Like I wasn't concerned with how my looked while I was flipping that tire. Yeah, I was wearing booty shorts that I loved, that I was just like vibing in. I felt good. It was a positive day.
Everybody this is so crazy that you brought this up, because I watched the Tom Brady roast. Okay, watch the
Me
Tom
too,
Brady
me
roast.
too.
Okay,
Yeah.
Nikki,
Yes.
killed it.
She is
Killed
so
it.
good.
She was
She
the
was
best
so
one
good.
up there.
Yes.
Okay, number one, best
Yes.
set out of
Yep.
everyone that was there.
Just roll,
Number two,
roll through.
all the men that were there.
Yeah.
She also said up there, she's like, they're all gonna call me a slut.
Yeah.
That's all they did. That
Yeah.
was the only thing that they could say to her, which I'm
Right.
like, let's get a little more creative. My
Exact-
number one thing with
that
that
was
is
the
if you're ever
easiest.
going to insult me,
Yeah.
internet, if you're
Yeah.
ever gonna insult me, be clever about it.
Right.
Make me laugh
Right.
about the insult. Like, don't just say
Yeah.
some dumb thing that I don't care about.
Right.
But she did so good. And then I was watching on TikTok, because you know your phone's always listening to you.
Yeah.
So I was watching on
Yep.
TikTok, like scrolling through, and Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura were talking with Hinchcliffe, yes, about the sets.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that they had asked was like, oh, if Andrew Schultz had Nikki's slot, do you think he would have done better? And I was like, the fuck? And then as I'm listening to it, they're like, and she looks so good. Like she was so tall. Like I'm like, who cares what she looked like?
Right.
She ruined all of you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and I'm a fan
Yeah.
of comedy. Like, I
Yeah.
think these guys are funny guys. But
Right.
like she killed all of you in that moment. She was the best one up there.
Yeah.
Why can't you just be a man about it and be like, you know what? Nikki killed that set.
Yeah.
She did the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
I need to come more prepared next time.
Right.
That's the way that I would have looked at it. I would have been like, I need to be
Exactly.
more prepared next time because she did the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
But instead, they want to talk about looks.
Yeah.
They want to talk about, oh, but what if like this other man had your slot? What if like
Yes.
that? What if the roles were reversed? None of those things happen though.
Yeah.
That is not the point of this.
Yeah. No, I
It's
totally
always
get it.
thrown back into like
Yeah.
what ifs, as
Yeah.
opposed to you flipped a freaking tire
Yeah.
and Nikki killed that set.
Right.
Those are just
Period.
the facts.
It done.
Why can't it be just that?
I know. And that was the whole thing too. And people did like, again, there's too many to even look at, and it didn't really matter because again, everyone clapped back at them anyway. And they're like, stop the nonsense. Like for me, like I didn't have to say anything, but I didn't want to anyway, because again, I remember people being like, oh, were you like so upset about that? I was like, no, like, what do you mean? Like, why would I be upset when like, again, at the end of the day, something that I did that was super powerful to me and was a moment that I'll never forget was shared with millions of people.
Yeah.
And like this helped little girls hopefully to see that they can be strong, sexy, all the things. You know what I mean? Because I felt like I looked great. You know what I mean? And so for me, like I was loving my body that day. I felt so empowered, so strong. Like, you know, this pre-injury. This is just like at the height of my like strong woman career. And it was determination. It was something that like I was not going to give up. And so that was why the whole day. And I had people that loved me there. Like I just felt so supported. So it's like, it's so much more than just a tire flip.
Yes.
And so that's where it's like when people are putting themselves out there, especially on social media, and people don't realize like I put that video up on TikTok. I didn't even know how to use TikTok. But the reason I put it up was because I was going through trauma and just like I just didn't feel, you know, I was in a very bad spot with my late boyfriend and things like that. And it was one of those moments where like I was like, I just need, because like he had just passed away like 5 months before that. And so like I was like, I'm really feeling down. I just need a little pick me up. So I was going to get a spray tan, get my hair blown out, just like a couple things I could do. There was besides movement. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to think of a time where I felt my best in the past like couple of years. Like what was that? Like a throwback. It's a throwback Thursday type of thing. And I put up the tire flip video, which I put up on Instagram and didn't really get any views. It was like whatever, you know? And I just remember putting it up there and was like the only woman to flip the 500-pound tire. And then just like let it go. Didn't open it back up until later that night. My phone was blowing up. And this is like, I'm like, I feel good in my body. I'm feeling good. And I look at that and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So like people don't realize like I was like very sad, very depressed. And then put that video up and
You needed a win. Like
and
a
it
moment.
and it was such a like again a God thing of like I just needed that, and I didn't expect anything from it because again didn't know how to work everything, and people were like, why does she only have like 5 followers, or why is she only following like 5 followers? Like, and I was like, because that's all. There was all I only had 5 clients that were following me. Like, you know what I mean? Before this happened, like, you know what I mean? Because my clients were the ones that set it up, and like Amanda and them, and so we were doing like little fun little dances, you know, like just something to find some joy.
Yes.
And you know, during that time and stuff, and so it's like there's so much more to it, and that's what like I always hold on to. And so when people put up a photo, you guys on social media, you don't know where they're coming from. That could be the one thing that's getting them out of their grief because they just feel like a bad like chick today, or they feel like, you know, they're like loving themselves, or they lifted, you know, the most that they've ever lifted before. And again, it's not a comparison thing. It doesn't matter if somebody over here lifted 500 pounds and you only lifted 100. It's irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that we live such in that society. I know we do because I see it every day, but like that people continually compare and they're like, why bother? Why try? If, you know what I mean? But it's like, that's literally my whole mission. Like when I started my journey was that of like, no one around here cares like that I want to get healthy or whatever. No one's here really supporting me. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, running and whatever, slowly getting better, and just kept building on that and did more things and went and ran a half marathon and whatever. Like, and it got to this point. So it's been 12 years of this journey, you know, versus what people see. They think, oh, I need 12 months or I need 2 months or whatever. And then I'll be like where I'm supposed to be or all these things. It's like, no, you guys, like this took work. This took dedication. It took a lot of ups and downs, but it took just being consistent, you know? And if I would have looked and compared myself to anybody around me, that would have only done a disservice to myself. Like I wouldn't have got out of bed some days then. Let's go into this because I want to know as we finish up, you know, in terms of you're kind of getting into this world of like my whole message of like loving your body throughout, right? Had you ever like kind of heard that from other trainers? Had you ever seen that before? Like when you were going to these classes, did anyone ever talk to you about these things? Was it like, what was that like?
Yeah, I want to say no. I want to say a lot of that comes from the positive side of social media and like the girlhood side of it that will always hype you up. And I'm lucky to be surrounded by so many amazing women in my life. Like I'm surrounded by, and I consider myself so lucky for this, the most amazing women, truly, and who will support me when it comes to the way that I look, when it comes to my career path, when it comes to my relationship with my fiance, when it comes to anything that I need support with, they'll support me. And I know that not everybody has that. And so I will say also, there is a positive side of social media. And there are plenty of people that are willing to be like, hey, you're okay the way that you are.
Right.
You're more than okay the way that you are.
Right.
And I'm lucky enough that I found that side of social media as well. But outside of that, no, like I've never gone to a class and they've been like, love your body. Until recently, actually, I went to a pole dancing class in New York City.
Hey, okay.
They'll talk about it there.
Yep.
And that was nice though.
We aligned.
Because that's also a very vulnerable place because you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I know. I was
Like,
so proud of you when I saw you did that because that's like hard work and people don't understand. Yeah.
And girl, that's a workout. Like, damn, I had bruises and everything. It was a lot.
Messed up
but that girl who was running that class was very much like, ladies, like let your body be free and like enjoy the way that you look, and you look bad, like you're a bad bitch kind of thing, like hyping us up.
Yeah.
Outside of that, no, I don't. I never got that really anywhere else.
And that's what's so important that like of the message, because that's how I felt when I go to New York every time, because when I originally was up there in Vermont and stuff, like that is where I heard about people talking in this language and stuff. And I was like, okay, like I want to bring that to Tennessee. Yeah. And so I feel like I'm doing that actively. And so that's where it's one of those things of like, again, it could be so normalcy for like them up there, but here it still is so taboo. And like, that's why I do the Love Your Body Initiative talks and all those things, because again, I want people to think about this and actually like find something that they feel positive about. Yeah. And, you know, not what others have told them, or if somebody told them they had like, you know, pretty hair when they were like 5, like, I don't, you know, like, but like, what is something to you? So I want to ask you what is, because I didn't get to ask you because you came to MoveFit, which was also awesome too. And real quick, will you tell them a little bit about your MoveFit experience? Because you got the best one. She came to the best one, like that I've had so far. Like, yeah,
I loved it. Not at all what I expected it to be.
What did you expect? Because you saw me as your trainer, you know, at the LYB here at the house and stuff like that. So going from that to then seeing MoveFit, what was kind of your?
I was like, oh, this is like, number one, more intense than I thought it was.
I
thought it was more, because you're like, oh my God, we have so much fun. And I was like, okay, like it's super chill. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really sweaty and my legs hurt. Yes. I'm like, this is a full blown workout. Yeah. Which was nice. And I enjoyed it because it was something different that I've never tried before. So it was like a nice, I'm enjoying trying new things fitness wise again. Right. So like, it was fun for me to do it. And I did it with Kate, who we talked about earlier.
Yep. And she was getting it. I want
she
her to
was
come every
really
time.
getting-
Like, oh my gosh. Like, I was like, yes.
She put me to shame because she was like dropping it low. I was like, okay, girl, go ahead, go
understood the
off.
assignment. She was great.
But it
I
was
loved
fun.
it.
And everybody, the best part about that is the community that you've built through this, though. Because there are girls who are going like, yes, like, go ahead, get low. Or like, all right, you're doing it right. Go ahead, keep doing it. Like, you're all like, everybody's hyping each other up.
Yeah.
Everybody's complimenting each other. Nobody feels awkward or weird or strange because there were moments where I'm like, oh, I don't know what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
But nobody's making you feel weird about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody's like giggling or laughing at you. They're just like, okay, come on.
It's a safe space.
Yeah, it was very safe space. And that's what you want when you try something new. So it was really cool to like experience that.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I realized that like I was more out of shape than I was afterwards because you're moving the whole time. But I loved it. It was like a fun way to work out, and it was a fun way to do something that was active on a bright sunny day. Like it was truly the perfect day for it.
Yeah, this is the one that was at the one hotel. And so she like, I've been putting this up on my stories and stuff to promote, you know, all the next move fits and everything. But like it was seamless, like so great. Like Brand House helped out with that. And then just the people there were amazing. And so that was cool. People could get stretched after. Like it was such a fun time. And that's where like my love for Move Fit, it just like, I want people to understand that wherever I go, I will create that safe space that like I desperately searched for my entire life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so that's whether it's in the LYB or it's at MoveFit or it's at a speaking engagement or it's whatever. Like I that's what I'm trying to like, again, pride myself in to letting people know that like, you don't have to be the best dancer. You don't have to already be fit to work out with me. Let me say that again. You don't already have to be fit to work out with me. Let me say it again. You don't have to already be like super fit to work out with me. Okay. Like again, all bodies are welcome. Yeah. I've had, athletes, people who are, I got a girl doing a half triathlon. You know, I've had people do strongman competitions. I've had kids. I've had elderly, like all different bodies and people. But
your mom was at the Move Fit doing little, like not all of it, but she was doing some of it. And I was like, I saw you doing some of that. And she's like, that's not, I'm sorry that you saw that. Cause she was like, I don't like it. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm not into this. Like, I'm not a very like active person.
She does not like to sweat. And that was what was such a beautiful moment.
So good.
Well, she's always said, she's like, I think I want to like jump in on one sometime. And I was like, Mom, like, just get in there, just do it. She's like, well, okay, maybe. So for the past like 3 times before that, and no one saw that, right? No one sees that she like wanted to step out, but couldn't, or she wouldn't allow herself to. And that was such a beautiful moment because I was like, man, like to see her in the back, because I saw her in the corner, doing stuff and whatever, but I didn't see it to the extent, and people got some clips of it. And that was awesome because she really was trying to like enjoy it, and it made it fun for her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I can get to her, like, I mean, because when I say like she genuinely has had a struggle with movement journey and stuff, but that she did my push-up challenge. She like has done more walks these days. Like she's like, trying to be healthy and for the right reasons now versus like how it used to be.
Right.
And like, that's been really cool. So it's like, that is what I want to help change the mindset in people, not just to be like, oh, I'm good. Like where you're, again, everyone is great where they're at. That's great. But we want to aspire to have goals in our career. We want to aspire to have goals in our health journey. We want to have goals to be able to move for longevity wise. Like, so it's like, I think again,
a well-rounded life.
Exactly. And I think that more like boss women need to hear that because again, it's a lot of weight on our shoulders. It's a lot of like stress. It's a lot of things that you're managing with, especially when you're in a male dominated, job and things like that in career. So it's like, what is something that, you could, first I'm going to ask you like, what's one thing that you love about your body that you're finding that you love? But secondly, some advice that you would give to somebody maybe coming up, whether it's radio, TV, maybe they feel like a lot of pressure or just a male dominated field that you would have wished someone would have told you.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
One thing I love about my body, and it's something that I've learned to love, is my curves.
Yes.
Like I'm a curvy girl.
Yeah.
I'm a Puerto Rican. I'm a Latina, so I got a little more booty, a little more shape to me.
I saw today you were in those shorts. We just got a workout in, and I was like, okay, Ricki. Like I videoed it. I mean, I'll show you. But like I was like,
my friend today too, so she was like, oh, okay, the booty.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the workouts.
No, literally, like we in it. We're here.
But like I've learned to, and also to not only just like love the curves in like, because everyone's always like, oh, that ass. Like that's always the thing is like that ass. But like I'm curvy in other places too. You know what I mean? Like I got a little belly. I got a little back like stuff, you know what I mean, going on. And that's okay. And I've learned to love those curves and like embrace those curves more.
Yeah.
Where I didn't always embrace that.
Right.
Especially, like when I was younger. That wasn't something that I embraced. It wasn't something that I was told to embrace.
Right.
That wasn't what I saw on TV and in newspapers and in magazines. It wasn't curvy girls, you know, that just wasn't a thing. So I've really like embraced that, and I love my curves now.
And something I do want to compliment you on too is that you usually come to me, not that it matters when people come with me with a full makeup on the face, you know, for a workout, that's fine, whatever, do what you want to do. But what I love is that on 107.5 The River, like on your Instagram, stuff like that, usually you don't have full makeup, you're natural. Same when you come here to work out, like same with this, like, and that is something really special that I want to say, because like I think it's beautiful and it's a great representation, especially in this day and age, that it's okay to like see someone's natural face.
Yeah, I do it on purpose.
And I love that. So that's something I did want to mention that means a lot. So when you talk about like late night and stuff like that, I really do think, again, that needs to be seen more. And like you could help so many people with that.
You know, like the thing that I've learned throughout life is that we all crave authenticity. We want everyone to just be real with us. We want everybody to just be honest with us. We just want that.
Yeah.
So why not give it to people? You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with getting dolled up when you want to get dolled up.
Exactly, yeah.
But the idea that you need to or you have to be beautiful, quote unquote, like I don't vibe with that. I don't buy into that idea. You know what I mean? Like if I don't feel beautiful without anything on, putting makeup on isn't going to make me feel better in the end.
Right.
You
And
know?
for those listening who are like, oh, but like, you know, it's easy for her to say because she's got a fiance or whatever it is. It's like, no, like, here's the deal. Like, I guarantee you that he loves her, whether she has a full face of makeup on or not. Okay. And then also, like, for me, example, if people are like, well, maybe you should like dress a little nicer for the gym or like matching sad or whatever. It's like, if you can't have me when I'm like half spray tan on, half spray tan off, hair crazy, whatever, just trained 11 clients, then came to work out my legs, then you can't have me when I'm in a bodybuilding bikini, best shape, whatever. You see what I mean? Like you got to take the improvement season and the prep season, all of it.
100%. And I can tell you that this isn't anything new. This has been me forever. Is like when I want to wear makeup, I do. And when I don't, I don't. My fiance, when he met me, I looked like a lake rat because I was out on the lake all day. Like I was not looking that cute.
Yeah.
It's just who I am. Like you said, love me as I am kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I love that.
So like I just want, and I want other people to know like that that's okay. I want little girls to know that they don't have to wear makeup all the time. I have so many friends who quite literally cannot leave the house until they put makeup on.
I know.
And I understand wanting to feel good, but like I want you to feel good in you, like who you are, embrace who you are. It's okay that you have a pimple. It's okay that you have some dark circles under your eyes because you didn't get any sleep the last 2 nights because you've been working your ass off. Like that's okay.
Exactly.
It's all right to be that way.
100%.
So yeah, just like embracing that for sure. And then, the other question was...
to wrap up, I was going to say, what would you give girls coming up that, whether they want to be an entrepreneur or or in a male-dominated field or whatever it might be, like advice that you wish that you would have known?
I would say it's going to be really hard, like really freaking hard, and it's going to test you in so many ways.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Anything that's worth anything has never been easy.
Right.
It's never been easy. It's always been something that you've had to work for. It's always been something you had to fight for. You know, we're fighting for what we want.
I was like, and we're here. We're here.
We're fighting for what we want, and it's always going to be a fight, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's not to glorify the struggle, because I'm not trying to ever glorify the struggle. I would love for things to come easy for everybody. But the reality of life is that anything that you want, any goal that you have, is going to take time.
Yeah.
It's going to take effort.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of no's.
Yeah.
I got so many no's.
For sure.
The amount of shows that I would fly out to audition to, the amount of shows that I had applied to that they told me no.
Yeah.
More than I can count on my hands.
Right.
And now I host my own morning show.
Yeah.
In Nashville. Like,
incredible.
It'll work. You know what I mean? If you just give it the time, the effort, and don't let anybody get you down.
Yeah.
And like I said, play the game to change the game, not in a conniving, sneaky way. But just know when you need to fight your battles, know when you need to just be like, it's fine, whatever. I'm just going to sit over here and keep doing what I'm doing because clearly what I'm doing is pissing you off. So it must be working.
I love it. And on that note, tune over to the Patreon, so Dandy After Dark, for our exclusive episode that I'm not going to share with anybody else except for the Patreon members. So thank you so much, Ricki, for coming on. This was amazing. And tell them... we'll do a little ad read so you can tell them where to find you. But just real quick, what's your Instagram handle?
Instagram is @thatchickricki, RICKI.
Hey, I love it. Thank you so much, girl.
Thank you.